Hey, it is 7:30 and it is time for Monday Night Live. I am here for you all. I see you, Cheryl. I see you, Tarkisha, over there on YouTube. Cheryl, you're like my pseudo assistant still. Tell me if this music is too loud because I'm playing something different for the Love series, some instrumental stuff. So let me know if it's too loud. I got two special guests coming on here tonight, you guys. It's going to be great. Hey, Florine. You guys let me know. Is the music too loud? I always have to test it because everybody, I know Alexa's trying to be like you. I said I was going to do something different. Yes, Peggy, come on through here. Trying to be like you. Yes. I said I'm going to do something different for this Valentine's Day week in this love series. Hey, Gloria. Hey, good to see you, fam. Hey, Takisha, thank you, honey. Thank you. Okay, let me see if I can. Because, you know, the problem is it's a saxophone, and they always sound loud. Let me see if I can do this one. Because it's like all the way down, almost. See? Like when I turn it off, like, I might have to just turn it off after a while, you guys. And let me know if that's still too loud. Thank you, Regina. Thank you, Christina. Hey, Karen. Thank you, guys. Okay, Alexis, you said the music is fine. That you can hear me. I'm not gonna leave it on too long. Hey, Yvette, good to see you guys. Yeah, thanks, Carla. I'm just playing something different for the Love series. Hi, Aunt Riola. Yeah, everybody's talking about blonde. I knew when I got on here tonight, y'all be like, ooh, who is this with this blonde hair? But I said I was going to do something different for the Love series. And I got two guys coming on here tonight that are going to join me. So this is going to be a little different. We're going to be talking about love and relationships. The topic, I didn't put the topic on, but it's learning from the loss of love. That's what we're going to be talking about, learning from the loss of love. So I got two guys coming on, and I told them to join me like in about 5 minutes or so, 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, good. Thanks, Cheryl, when you said that you could hear me over the music. Great. Because I just wanted to do something a little different for this particular love series. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. There's 22 of you guys on here. I really want you guys to share the broadcast tonight with me having two guys come on and join me. Hey, Linnell, good to see you. Thanks for tagging too. Thank you guys for tagging, and make sure that you share. So, because I'm gonna be asking these guys questions about their experience and just talking about relationship and stuff. It's gonna be about a 45-minute session with them because I'm not gonna, just drag them all night to be on here for like 2 hours. That's too much. Hey, Erica, it's good to see you. Thank you, Peggy. Thank you so much. So I just figured, I told them it would be 45 minutes, an hour at the most. Thank you, Erica. Thank you, honey. Hey, Allison. No, honey, it's not. You know how I do. It's a unit. Yep, but it's something different. I want you guys to see I can rock blonde if I want to. So back in the day, I used to do my all kind of hair colors. You said keep that hair. I know. Thank you, guys. I know it's something different. But anyway, so I told the guys that I was going to do like 45 minutes to an hour at most. Thank you, Pastor Dorothy. Thank you, Yvette. So anyway, I'm going to get started with the announcements. There's about 30 of you guys on here. I'm asking you again to tag people and share the broadcast so other people can see this, because this is something special. Okay, so to start out with, oh God, you guys, last week when I was talking to you guys on here about the earthquake had just hit, remember, in Syria and let me think, Turkey, Syria and Turkey. Yeah, I'm excited too, Allison. How it had just hit in Syria and Turkey, and there was 2,300 people dead a week ago today. It's over 33,000 people that have lost their lives. So we're going to be doing 3 days of prayer. March 1, 2, and 3. You know that's coming up pretty soon in a couple of weeks. And they will still need donations. So somebody is texting me. So I'm going to sorry you guys. Oh, okay. I'm gonna put up this banner. Let me see where you can let me go here right quick. Yeah, this is where you can donate for them. Man, what I did was, so you guys are gonna have to take a picture of this. I did a bit.ly link, and that link will take you to CNN's page where you can donate to the victims in Syria and in Turkey. And they're still pulling people out today, y'all. Like 170 hours under a building is nothing short of a miracle. These are miracle survivors that are coming out. So you can, I'll try to remember, one of you guys have to probably remind me to put this back up again, you know, later on tonight. So before we leave, so you can take a picture. Hi, Sabrina. Hi, honey. Thank you so much. Yep, I know, Carla. I prayed for you today, by the way. So this is where you can give. I think that's something different though. CNN impact your world. Okay, you can always give there, but that's not. This is what I want to show. That's the link. I rolled across it. That's the link for Syria and Turkey. So if you want to give to them, you know, you can hit that link, take a picture of it, and then go there. And they got all different types of radio boxes that you can click on to give. You can give $5, you can give $5,000, you can give whatever amount you want, but that's where you would give for the earthquake victims. It's just been terrible, terrible. Hi, Aunt Riola. Yep, I see you on there. Because I think I said hi to you, but I'll say hi again because I saw you earlier. Hi, Florine. Hi, Sherilyn. It's good to see you guys. Hey, Louise. It's good to see you guys jumping on. So I'm trying to get through these announcements because the guys are going to come on here in a couple of minutes and they're going to join us tonight. Hey, Catrice. So, all right, the next announcement is the women's retreat. Okay, last week I sent an email out, and I think Prophet Greta did too. And in that email was a link embedded that all you had to do was click on it, and it would take you to a form where you could fill out and put your name, email address, and you didn't have to put your phone number on. That wasn't a requirement, but your name and email address if you are interested in finding out about the women's retreat in Dallas. Prophet Greta has a ministry called 2020 Vision Women of Faith, and I have a ministry called the Company of Abigail, and it's been sitting dormant. Mine has been sitting dormant for a while, like at least 4 years now almost. She's done stuff more recent than that, but she came up with the idea for us to collaborate and bring both ministries together of all the women that were involved in those ministries, and let's do a women's retreat here in Dallas. So 42 of you have signed up. Yeah, sure, Prophet Yvette. I'll resend the email. Thank you, Cynthia Poe. Thank you. 42 of you have signed up. Okay. And that's a great number for a retreat. That's like really, really a great number. So I said to Prophet Greta, I said, we need to get at least 20 women to come on a retreat because this is going to be like really intimate. And we're going to minister to every single one of you all prophetically and everything. So that's why we said we need at least 20. Well, it turned out more than double that because there's 42 of you guys that signed up for it. So, excuse me, I see Peyton is backstage. Hey, Peyton, I know you can hear me. So anyway, great. So what we're going to do is sit down and try to put everything together as far as the cost, the dates, what it would require for you to go ahead and register. If we're going to, most likely you'd have to put in a deposit because that's going to, lock you in. So make sure that you're serious, about doing it, because we're not going to have everybody sign up, get all the stuff together, and then people drop out because they're not serious. So it's over 42 people, like I said before. And Alexis, you said you're excited. I am too. So if you guys didn't get the email, DM me. I remember you, honey, Yvette. I remember to send it to you. But any of you guys, thanks, Eric. If any of you guys did not get the email for you to go ahead and sign up, then DM me on Facebook and I'll send it out. Okay. All right. On to the next announcement. What the next Prophets Cave? The next Prophets Cave is going to be March the 11th. Okay. March the 11th. That's a Saturday. We're not intentionally hopping over February, but it just turns out that we did, the January Prophets Cave so late. We did it like January the 28th. And if we had to turn around and did the regular February date, that would have been like 3 weeks later. So that's the reason why I went ahead and just said, I'm going to move it down to March 11th. I could have had it the first week of March, but it was a conflict of interest for Prophet Art, and I'm going to be out of town. So I said, okay, March 11th is going to be the date. So mark your calendars. Didn't receive a link to join. What, Robert? Are you serious? Okay, I got to send Robert the link. He says he didn't get the link to join. So hold on, you guys. Robert, I sent you the link. Okay, there you go. So he should be good. All right. Yeah, Peyton, Robert said he didn't get the link. I sent him the link, but I'll send it to him again the second time. Okay, so the last announcement is a prophetic advisements. So, and backing up, mark your calendars for the Prophets Cave, by the way, for March the 11th. So, and we're going to be doing prophetic ministry too, like we always do at the end. So the prophetic advisement is almost over and done, you guys. I mean, as far as the special, it's like the 15th. And what is that? Today is 12, 13, 14, 15, Thursday. Now, here's the deal. If you still want to get in on it, as long as you book by the 15th, you can book out past the 15th. As long as you go on there, got it now. Okay. Robert, he's saying he's got it now. Okay, Robert. Just sent it. So if you go on there and you book by the 15th, you can book further out. If you need to book out like at the end of February or whatever, I'm just cutting it off for booking on the 15th for this special. So it's $100 off, and I advise you to take advantage of it. And like I said last week, it has just been amazing. I've done 45 people since we started, and that's January 1st. So 45 advisements from January 1st to February 8th, I think was my last one. So you guys have really been booking, and it's been amazing, super amazing. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys got the date, and you know that it is on the 15th of February for the last day. Okay, so that's all the announcements, and both of our guests are here. So we're going to get started because I don't want to prolong the time. I think this is going to be great. I'm going to take this music off, and we're going to get started. And you guys have been tagging. I see that you guys have been tagging people there. You guys can't see all the numbers, but I see all the numbers. There's over 200 people watching right now. And usually by the time there's like 48 hours expired, it's like 400 and something people have saw the video. Those are the numbers that I average every week. So I know this is no different. And you guys have been tagging. Yeah, Allison, I see you just tagged Rashad Glover. I'm glad. So anyway, we're going to get started. This particular topic tonight is entitled, learning from the loss of love. Okay. Learning from the loss of love. And what I want you guys to do is you can put in the chat questions as we go. I can't promise you that I'll see everybody's, but every now and then I'll put a question up on the screen and let the guys answer it. I'm not answering stuff and talking. This is for a man's point of view. So I'm going to bring them both in, and I want them to introduce themselves. And take this out. There you are. Hey guys. So you got your live from the cave, the lover of life. I love it. So what I'm gonna do is have you guys just introduce yourselves, give your name, tell where you're from and what you do for a living, and then we'll get started. So Peyton, you can go first.
Hi, June. Thanks for having me on. First and foremost, I really appreciate it. Peyton Rose. I am an entrepreneur, athlete, and writer. I have a company, consulting firm called Alpha Wave, the Alpha Wave Group, and very happy to be on here. I live in Golden, Colorado. That's where I'm signing in from.
Okay, great. Okay, sir.
Let's do this. I'm Robert Hazard. I am a father of two. I have a daughter that I was just in Atlanta with, and I have a son. And I also am an entrepreneur as well. I have a company called the Hazard Group, which does consulting for small businesses. But one of the passions that I am most excited about as well is being, a mentor to young boys. So I am excited to that you've allowed me to hang out with you and Peyton tonight. So thank you so much.
You're
Good
welcome.
to see you, Robert. Good to see
Great
you.
seeing you too.
Yeah.
It's great to have you guys on here. For those of you that are watching, 4 years ago now, it probably was 4 years ago tonight, I did a Valentine's Day relationship thing, and I had 5 guys on. And that's how I first met Peyton. I've been knowing Robert for a few years, and it was a blast, and the conversation got to be like really crazy. I have to go back and try to find that recording, that video, because I'm sure I still have it. But this is live, so you guys can share it. Like I said, there's over 200 people watching right now, and I don't know where we're gonna go, but I'm just gonna ask questions, and I'm gonna ask the same question for both. I'm gonna ask Peyton to start, and then Robert, you can give your answer. So let's get started. All right. Top 5 reasons why marriages fail. Now, remember, you guys, we're talking about learning from the loss of love. And I do have a ton of women on here, so I know you guys might want to pop in questions. Like I said, I'll try to get to them if I can. I'm not going to ignore you, I promise, because you guys know I put stuff up on the screen constantly, stuff that you guys say. So tonight is no different. So I picked 2 perspectives, one from a Christian perspective and one from a secular point of view. Okay. So the first one we're going to do is from christianfamilylife.com. And this is the top 5 reasons why marriages fail from a Christian perspective. Number 1. So this is what I'm asking you guys, Peyton and Robert, listen to the 5 and then pick one that you feel really resonates with you and you can talk about it, why you agree with it. Okay. So here's their top 5. 50-50 proposition automatically sets an expectation for performance, meaning that when people say you got to go into a marriage or relationship, 50-50, then that means the person's mind is already set up to have to perform. Number 2, false view of love. These are top 5 reasons why marriages fail. False view of love. Number 3, selfishness. Number 4, no plan for marriage. And number 5, lack of relationship with Jesus. Now, this is from the Christian point of view. So what resonates with you, Peyton, and what's your opinion on that?
What was number 3? Say number 3 again.
Number 3 was selfishness. I'll say them all again. Number 1 is going into it thinking that it needs to be 50-50.
That's a big one.
Number 2, false view of love. Number 3, selfishness. Number 4, you have absolutely no plan for the marriage. And number 5, lack of relationship with Jesus.
Well, those 5 are really good. Those are all really good reasons why. For me, honestly, number three really does resonate a lot. Number one is really, there is something to be said about that 50-50 proposition and the expectations of performance. But I think that also kind of ties into selfishness and support. But in a marriage, and I'm a father as well, so also two children, a daughter and son. And one of the things you have to learn as a father, I think it seems to me to be automatic. It should be automatic whenever you have children, is you have to lose that selfishness that you may have had as a single man, or even just in a relationship with another person. I think there's a modicum of selfishness that you can exist with until you have those kids. But once you have kids, you really have to put yourself secondary, third, fourth, at all times, in my opinion. I mean, once you bring life into the world, your obligation is to give every opportunity to that life to thrive. So for me, being selfish in a relationship is really hard. Now, that being said, there is, I think, to argue and debate, there is a healthy way of putting the self first. You do need to take care of yourself. You can't help anybody if you're not taking care of yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually, right? So there is that part. And some would say that might be a bit selfish depending on how far you take it, but you have to do that first. And once you're in a good place, that selflessness can start to happen, and you can really, really see how important, and you can see the benefits and every, all of the fruit that comes to bear whenever you drop the self, drop your ego, and put your family, your partner first. So I think that one, if you've got a selfish person and they're thinking about themselves first in a relationship, man, it is hard to have a sustainable, long-term relationship with a really selfish person, in my opinion there.
Definitely. Let me pop in here. We have men watching as well as women. I forgot. I mean, I know I have a lot of women, but there's a lot of guys that watch too. And Chris Harvey said that number 5 is the one that he would pick, which is lack of relationship with Jesus Christ. And to let both of you guys know, the women are asking, are you married? Over and over again. Is he married? Are they both married? Okay. Peyton is married. Robert is not. Okay?
No, I am not married.
What?
No, I'm not married.
Peyton,
Not at the moment.
The last time we were together, you were married.
Yeah, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Newsflash, you guys.
Plot developed.
No. Wait. Daryl says the women on here are thirsty. Shut up, Daryl. Oh my. Hey, Glenn. Glenn's on here. He said, "My guys, great guest." Okay. Well, hey. I've been through it. We've all been through it. So, I mean, hey, I wasn't married when we were together last. And so, hey, maybe there's some great things coming in the future. You never know. Okay. All right. So, Robert, you want me to repeat them again or no?
No, I wrote them down. I probably didn't write them in the order, but, Peyton, you killed it with the selfishness, because I would have probably, expounded on that as well. But, the one thing that does resonate with me is that we have a false view of love. I don't think that we know what love is, and its action. It requires action in a relationship and in a marriage, because we go around today and we say that we love somebody, and we use that word so loosely, but we don't understand what's involved in the love piece of it. I talk about it a lot, that, I stopped saying to people, don't tell me you love me, tell me you like me. Because if like is at the foundation, we can build on the love, because as we go through the peaks and valleys, and I've been married, before, a few times, but we go through these peaks and valleys where sometimes we love each other and sometimes we just like each other, and we kind of go back and forth. But I also think, Peyton, you did a great job of talking about it, it's the selfishness. I know I was supposed to pick two, but there's the selfishness that comes in to play as well. And many times, at least I can speak for myself, is that I tried to put, my mate first before me, and that just does not make sense. When we get on a plane, and we hear it a lot, it says that you have to put your partner's, mask on first, or I think is it your mask on first? I can't remember.
Your
But
mask on first. Your
my
mask
mask on first
Okay.
before I put my daughter's mask on, right?
Right.
But that points back to taking care of myself, because I can't take care of you if I haven't taken care of myself. And that self taking care of me means mentally, physically, all the things that Peyton kind of alluded to as well, or spoke to. But the last thing that I think, because we're all Christians and believe in God, but I think the lack of Jesus is you can't go into a marriage if you don't even know who Jesus is. Because what happens in our vows, right? We are saying our vows and we're making those to God.
Yeah.
And yet when trouble hits, and we all know that Satan is after marriages more than he is relationships, because he wants to break up that covenant that we've made with God. I don't want to preach tonight, but I just want to say, that piece of it is probably one of the biggest things that tears up marriages and relationships, is a lack of a relationship with God.
That's true. That is very true. Okay, these y'all are already putting questions in. I'm gonna put this one up in case it keeps scrolling and I don't see it. Why is marriage counseling necessary before you get married? Linda Whitfield wants you guys to talk about that.
You want?
Yeah, I can totally jump in on that. I would love to jump right. So I'm a huge believer in counseling before marriage, and counseling even in the earliest stages of a relationship. If you have somebody that you want to be serious with, matter of fact, so ladies, if anybody is curious, I'm taken. I have my forever lady. I found my soulmate. So I'm going to apologize on the front side of everything that I'm off the market. I went on the market. I'm off the market. Just bam,
They're
bam.
already asking how old you are. People are in here saying, how old are you? How
32.
old?
I'm 32. No, you check my bio for So, but no, back to the question, because it's a very good question. And so, and just to give an example, my partner that I'm in a relationship now, we began counseling almost immediately because we found this really, really close bond. And what you're doing whenever you go in, I'm a big believer in asking the hard questions first, immediately, going into the hard questions, finding out where both people stand and their core values. Now, with that, what we can do. So, there's this misconception about counseling, right? And I'm just speaking. This is my opinion. I think a lot of people, just like healthcare, a lot of people feel like you go to a counselor after you're broken, right? That you have to go to a counselor after it's broken. That's not the case. You can be proactive in counseling and therapy and take care of a lot of situations. My partner and I, she made this wonderful analogy about the grains of sand that can pile up, right? So one grain of sand is okay, but over time, if those grains of sand pile up and pile up and pile up, it's hard. You can brush one little piece of speck of sand off, but getting rid of a beach full of sand is really, really difficult, right? So counseling on the front side, proactively in the beginning of a relationship and before a marriage, is going to help you to keep all those little grains of sand off the table and keep things nice and clean. You can go to the table. You can go into sessions before any problems start, or right whenever you detect one, right? You can go in and say, hey, look, we're having a little issue with this right here, and how do we communicate around this? How do we go about bringing this out, looking at this raw spot, and really, really understanding how to communicate together? It's very big help for communication. So it's a wonderful tool to use. Use that tool before things are broken. Use it proactive. Put it in your toolbox on the front side. Great question, and a great thing to use.
Yeah. I don't know if did you want to go in, say anything? If not, Robert, I'm going to ask the next question. It's up to you.
Well, I'll elaborate just a little bit more on that. I think that we should all, particularly, I'm over 50. So we have baggage that we have been carrying with us, all along. And so therapy is really, I know it's helped me to better communicate in and out of relationships. And to Peyton's point, you do have to do the marriage counseling sooner rather than later. But I think when it comes to dating someone, we don't want to run everybody to the counselor.
Right.
We want it to at least be, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, I want to be at least dating them, for 3 or 4 months before I start, because the counselor's going to start looking at me if I start running through, bringing all these ladies to meet with them and say, hey, is this the one you think? Or what do you think here? I don't want that reputation, but I do think, to answer the question, that preventative care is important, and that will help you with your communication styles, most definitely.
Good answers. You guys sound like therapists. Allison, I sent Napasha, Dr. Gettings, a question about trauma bonding, and I'm hoping that she looks at her phone so I can give the answer before we sign off. Okay, Robert, I'm going to pitch this question to you. What is the one thing you wish all women knew when it comes to how a man communicates?
Wow.
Well,
you guys, I'm going to ask some hard questions tonight.
You said it. That in some cases we're not the best communicators. So, even though I argued that one, before, but we're not the best communicators. We have to be astute to listening. And I think that one of the things that ladies can help us with is to help us to have a safe space in the way of when they present the questions or the situation to us. It may not come out the way they're expecting it. So just have patience with us in that way.
Peyton?
Yeah, absolutely agree there. We actually have a thing we call safe space, right? So a place where, because as men, it is really, I think it's pretty well known at this point that men are programmed to hold in any emotion except for anger most of the times, right? As we come up. So a lot of us are playing catch up on communication and expressing emotion. And so, to be able to have it, just like Robert said, he nailed it, to have a safe space where we can communicate things that probably, if you're a woman in a relationship with a man, a really serious relationship, and he's now communicating in a safe space with you, you're likely hearing a lot of things for the first time that he's ever said out loud to anybody, right? And so that can be terrifying to a man to actually have to say or express an emotion or feeling or maybe in a traumatic event or any number of things that a man may express to you in that safe spot. It may be the first time anyone's ever heard him say it ever, right? So it's a really sacred place for you as a female to be able to have a man who can trust you to be able to express himself in ways that most likely no one has ever heard before. And if you can give a man that, and just like Robert said, have some patience because he probably hasn't said anything like this before, right? So he doesn't even, he's really, really on the line as far as his conscience is concerned. He's mentally concerned. So that's something that if women can know that communication is hard for us, and when we are willing to do it with you, it is very, very meaningful. And we've now kind of given you the keys to the kingdom as far as we're concerned when it comes to expressing ourselves and expressing emotions. So yeah, great answer, Robert.
It's so coincidental, Peyton, that you would bring that up because last week on the broadcast, which was the first Monday that we started this series, I talked about that very thing. And one of my guy friends said that for a man, if he's vulnerable and lets you in that place and tells you stuff that he would, or even maybe just one thing that he's never told anyone, he said, if you take that and use it against him in the future or betray him in any way, he will never, ever trust you again. And
That's
I'm
the
like,
truth.
wow, I
Yeah.
never got that.
Yeah, you're weaponizing him.
Yeah. I'm not
Absolutely.
kidding. A lot of these comments, they are acting up bad. Earlier, somebody said, ask Peyton, does he have a cousin? I'm not getting ready to rock with y'all with all this stuff in here. And then I forgot, somebody here said this is a dating site tonight. Joking. Glenn is down here saying stuff. He said that you getting ready to preach, Robert. Okay, here's the next question. It doesn't matter who wants to take this one first. It's another one of those, what is the one thing you wish? So, what is the one thing you wish every woman knew when engaging in a brand new relationship? Think of your dating relationships and what would have made it easier? What do you wish every woman knew when starting a brand new relationship, like just dating?
Go ahead, Robert. I think you got. I got one.
I don't have a good one, but I have one that makes sense to me. Is that we're simple. When I get into a relationship, I just want to have fun. I just want, and when I say fun, I don't mean sexual fun. I mean just, we're getting to know each other and just laughing and joking and doing the things that should be natural in that getting to know stage. So I wish every woman would just go with the flow in that area. And sex isn't the first thing that I want.
And I can append to that too. So to kind of add on to that, know what you want as a woman. Know what you want as a man too. But I mean, especially knowing what you want as a woman. Do the work beforehand so that you know what you want, so you don't have to waste time. So I mean, if you know what you want and you're dating someone, let's say, and you can see very clearly in the beginning that they may be or may not be what you want. You can address the situation accordingly, right? But if you don't really know what you want, if you don't have, I wouldn't say maybe a North Star, for your relationship, for the type of relationship you want as a woman, it's going to be hard to find a man because, like Robert said, we're simple, so we're not going to be able to fit every category. Like one man's not going to be able to handle a whole lot of categories most times. So if you know what you want in your partner and you can go into the dating scene knowing what you want, that's going to be really helpful for you as a woman. You'll be able to identify whether or not this person is likely a good match, or if you need to go ahead and end things early and continue moving on.
I'm going to add this from a woman's perspective. I think one of the biggest mistakes that women make is they date every man as a potential husband.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big mistake.
I
think so. And I think that, and we may do that as men too.
Right.
Dating a woman as a potential wife. But I think that, again, I think we have to go back and let the friendship organically grow. And if we do all those things, then we will find out if this is our wife.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure. So we're talking about learning from the loss of love. So this next question, Robert, I'll just have you start. Name one thing that you learned from the loss of love. In other words, when the relationship or the marriage fell apart, what did it teach you?
We've talked about this, but it's taught me so many things as I have to go back now and look. But, recently I've only been divorced now 3 years, but I think that I should have asked a little bit more. I mean, the red flags were glaring. And I should have asked more questions about those red flags and not ignored them, thinking that they would go away. I have this thing where I think red flags will go to, they'll turn to yellow and green pretty quickly, but they won't unless you ask questions. You need to be curious to kind of understand it, and it's vice versa. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but by any stretch, but I ignored some of the more important things that I shouldn't have ignored early on, and just should have asked more questions. So it taught me to really, again, focus on myself. I'm important too, just like they are.
True. True.
Okay, June, give me that one more time. Say that question one more time so I can answer this the way
Okay.
I think I should.
Name one thing that you learned from the loss of love. In other words, when the relationship or marriage fell apart, what did it teach you?
Yeah, so I think there's something very similar to Robert in this is alignment. Alignment is absolutely critical, in my opinion. Matching up on core values, matching up on the harder core issues in life. For me, if you can match up on those, if you can align, there's this, the old adage that opposites attract, and yeah, maybe opposites attract, but I don't know that opposites are good for sustainability and long-term relationships, honestly, unless in those opposites you can really support one another. You're not going to weaponize those opposites. You're not going to weaponize some of those differences. You're not going to, use them in any negative way. I really like similarities attracting. I like when my partner and I align and line up on big core issues. What I also find is that we are aligning on a lot of smaller parts of life, which are really, really great, because I love sharing in life. I love sharing joy, happiness, hope. I'm an eternal optimist. So for me, it's really important that my partner also share in some of those similar traits. So I found alignment was critical. And that goes back to what Robert is talking about with the red flags. Like, if you understand what you want going into a relationship, you can, if there are red flags that exist for you, which may not be red flags, let's just say, they may not be red flags for another person, what are red flags for me, right? But if there are red flags that exist for me, I'm able to identify those really quickly because I know what I want. And honestly, like my partner and I, we tried to find any red flag. We really, really dove deep into trying to find those red flags because we wanted to search them out and turn them to yellow, green if they existed, Robert, just like you were saying. And so if you can do those deep dives and find alignment in the front side and endearing, and keep that alignment alive with the work, because relationships are work, it's massively valuable, massively valuable.
And those red flags, 9 times out of 10, are going to be the very thing that's going to split you up in the end.
That's right.
It's going to be the very thing that's going to destroy you. Right. Veronica says,
now you tell me.
Folk don't understand the necessity of intentional dating. Intentional dating. And, you can filter that several different ways. But the way I filter it is cut your losses early. Don't waste time. That's intentional dating. If there's nothing there, why are you going to waste your time just passing the time because there's nothing else to do? I mean, I don't know. That's what do you guys think is intentional dating?
I was with you, but I think the intentional dating piece of it is I don't think there's anything wrong with intentional dating, because you have a plan, and your plan is I want a partner, I want a life partner, and in somebody who believes in me. But I think what happens for both men and women, I think, is that we get intimately connected too soon. So when we, at least for me, get connected too soon, we start, romanticizing that this person, I think you talked about false view of love. We start romanticizing because the sex is good. They make me feel some kind of way that this is my person. And then that's when it becomes, we start missing those flags or those things that we should be asking questions about. So if we intentionally go into the relationship and say, hey, you know what? I want to give this some time. I want to organically get to know you, get to know what you don't, what you like, what you don't like. You get the same for me. And if I can, not be so involved intimately with that partner, with that person, I can see better.
True, definitely. And I do believe in intentional dating. I guess maybe I might not have explained myself. What I meant is when you are intentionally dating, when you see right away that this is not going to work. So why stay in it if you're going to be intentionally dating? That's what I mean by that.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. You mentioned it earlier in terms of cutting your losses.
Mm-hmm.
If they say this in therapy and I go to therapy. In therapy, I promote it. I'm an advocate of men's mental health and therapy as well. But I think when we realize that the people that come towards us have not had therapy or not open to it, that right away is a shield for us because we can see it and we can move away.
Yeah. This is, I'm putting yours up here again, Veronica. You said, this is why the greatest decisions are made without sex and the perception is clearer, which I agree. Here's the next question. Peyton, I'll let you start out on this one. Time does not heal all wounds. I think that is like one of the craziest things that has been coined. One of the craziest, colloquialisms, like time heals all wounds. No, it doesn't. Taking time to understand what went wrong and getting help processing through it is what heals the wounds. Do you think people need to go for therapy after a bad breakup? Do you think that's for everyone or just certain people?
So yeah, I'm also a big advocate of therapy, but we have to remember there are a lot of there is an array of therapy solutions that we can all explore. So I think a lot of times people just associate therapy with talk therapy, but you have EDMR, you have cognitive therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy. There's a great book by Van der Kolk, The Body Keeps a Score. And that's a wonderful book to go and read.
That's a great title.
There are different therapies for different types of trauma, right? So I'm cautious to say that every person should go to therapy. I think you should explore all of the options available to you, and then and try to find the type of therapy. It may be a physical therapy, honestly. I mean, there are so many types, there are so many ways that we can get help, right? So I really believe in exploring, what's happened to you, what you're going through, and trying to match that with a type of help that would be most effective for whatever, trauma you've experienced, a bad relationship, whatever you might be going through.
Okay, I'm typing in here, The Body Keeps Score. Who's the author?
I forgot his first name. It's Van der Kolk, VANDERKOLK. The Body Keeps Score.
Okay.
Fantastic book. Yeah.
Okay.
I suggest everybody read it.
Because I always try to recommend books. So there.
I think it's Bessel van der Kolk. Bessel.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you type in Google, The Body Keeps Score, it'll come up.
Yeah, it will.
Okay. I don't know what happened. I put it in here and then it disappeared. Alexis, she put the whole thing in there. There's the person's name. That's
fantastic read. And he gives you a lot of examples. So yeah, definitely do the research. Do the research and find out what's going to help you best. Just signing up for a talking head I believe talking head therapy is great, but that may not be what you need for your particular situation.
Okay. All right, Robert, true or false? If you're not willing to be completely vulnerable, you're not ready to love. True or false?
True.
Peyton?
True.
Okay, Peyton, true or false? When you hold back, you validate the other person holding back.
That's hard. I can't say true or false. It depends. It could be true. Could be true if you're doing it purposefully. If you're doing it purposefully to harm them, yes. But if you're having a problem with if you're holding back because of some traumatic experience or something that you haven't quite got comfortable with the sharing yet, I would definitely say, other person, please help that person. Please help them to try to be safe enough to go all in and express themselves. So hard one.
Mostly, a lot of people in there are saying true, that they say true. Okay, Robert.
I would have said true.
Yeah.
Okay, Robert, true or false? A man's number one need is trust, not sex.
Can we is there a gong? Is there
Are
a gong? There's a gong bell or something that. So yes, trust.
Okay.
Oh my God, trust has to be a
So
pillar.
that is a man's number one need is trust, not sex.
Yeah, not sex.
I talked about that for probably 10 minutes last week because most women don't believe that. You guys explain to the women and the ones in the back why trust is your number one need and not sex.
You want to go, Pate?
Go ahead, Robert.
So for me, for trust is a pillar. It's the foundation of a relationship. Sex is great, but sex changes over time. And during the relationship, sex changes because we all change, our bodies change, etc. But trust does not. Trust equates to loyalty. All of those things kind of go hand in hand. If I can't trust you and you can't trust me, we have nothing. We really don't. We could still have sex, but we have nothing. And so that's a major thing for me. Trust.
Peyton?
I second that. Yeah, he nailed it. I mean, honestly, and ladies, if you are in a relationship or dating or somebody in some form of communication with a man whose number one priority is sex, that's a red flag. Honestly, unless you both are totally consensual on that. If you're trying to build a relationship, trust is absolutely critical. Absolutely critical. Always.
Can I go? Let me expound on that a little bit more.
Yeah, please.
I think that trust is something that has to be earned. I don't think that we want to give blind trust.
Right.
So and based off of our historical upbringing and things like that, it may be tough for people to trust and to give trust. So I think that, but at the core of any relationship, there has to be a measure of trust and loyalty there. But it does have to. I don't want you to give me trust if you can't trust me. If I am not demonstrating trustworthy behaviors, that would be ridiculous to give me trust. But
we're wired to connect. We're men. Not to cut you off there, Robert. We're wired to connect. Men are wired to connect just like women, right? And so we are yearning for trust in our partner for sure. Like that is something that, I mean, any man that is mature and has done the work. One of the first things he's going to be looking for is to be able to trust you, because that's going to allow him to grow and grow with you. So trust is absolutely critical.
That's that pillow talk. I mean, it's really when we're having pillow talk, that's the vulnerability moment. And that's the part where I'm trusting you, and what I'm sharing with you about whatever it is, I'm not expecting it to be back on social media the next day or with your girlfriends or your guy friends or any of that thing. That's a measure of trust.
And one of the guys said this, I'm gonna put him up: when trust is there, then sex is much better.
Yeah. That's correct.
This is a clean show, but if you could,
right.
Trust is there.
Another man, that's another guy. He says trust is powerful. I'm going to ask you guys a question because we're going to wrap up here in a minute. That time went by really. That 45 minutes flew by. Trust is importantly first for a man and a woman, but you definitely need the sex.
Oh yeah. All right. I ain't complaining about that.
Okay. There was a young lady on here last week that we were talking about being in a relationship that was no good for you, and it was so hard to get free from the person sexually. And you just felt so soul tied, and you're trying not to keep going back. And so I don't know if she's on here. I haven't been looking at the chats as closely as I would if I was engaging more with them. I've been listening to you all, but I know her guy friend is on here, not the one that she was with and trying to get away from. This is just a friend, but she was really expressing regret of not being able to pull away. So one of my questions on here is, one of the most painful things when loving is losing yourself in the process of loving someone too much. What do you suggest to a person as far as how can they recover from the situation and heal? What would you suggest to someone that's in that, where they've just given so much and they felt like they lost themselves in the process and now it's over? Robert, why are you laughing?
Because I am a product of that.
Really? This is one girl. I mean, people are in the chat really talking. Linnell said that hits. Latoya said, ooh, wee, child. I mean, people are like really in here.
Yeah, that whole sex bonding thing, as I said, will it'll take you out, because the person, not because I think somebody already commented, if you have both trust and sex, man, you're batting 1,000. But that whole trauma bonding, or intimate bonding, because sex has a way, man, of curling up your toes if it's done, and if it's good. And it's yeah, it'll take you out, and you give of yourself, because then you are pushing that, or speaking for myself, I pushed the relationship because because the sex was good, I wanted everything else to be good, and I wanted it to work.
And so when it doesn't work, how do you heal from that? I mean, my answer is therapy.
I'm still in therapy. I'm still talking about, this,
I know you are.
3 years later, and I'm still talking about, the effects of, some things that, how I lost myself. I think that's one thing that we don't want to do. We don't want to lose ourselves in any relationship, because then we feel like it's one-sided. That goes back to that earlier question about 50-50.
And this is kind of like, tit for tat, right? So physical, we're talking about physical and emotional, but there's a lot of, when we're talking about sex, we're obviously talking about a very physical exertion here. And so, I would fight fire with fire, and say that, looking towards other ways of, physical exertion, really, and this is internal stuff. You need to go internal and, like, how am I physically, and what am I doing physically? And I don't want to simplify this, because again, like, therapy is something you should research, and there are all types. But going to the gym, taking up running, taking up walking, taking up some sort of physical hobby, swimming, tennis, racquetball. There's tons of bicycling, right? So, taking that energy, and it's kind of like sexual transmutation, right? So taking that sexual energy and pivoting towards something that's going to be helping you internally, externally as well. You do things actively, you're going to look better, and you're also going to feel better, right? So this is a way to reconnect with yourself by going out and trying to engage in other pivoting your physical activities to something that's going to help you internally. So I would think that's I know that's very helpful for sure.
That's definitely helpful, Peyton, because then you're focusing on yourself, and
it's back to self-care.
Oh man,
absolutely.
Self-care.
Well, absolutely. I'm going to they're tearing Glenn up, and Glenn is tearing you up, and they're trying to tear him up in the comments. It said, leave Robert alone, Glenn.
Watch Glenn, man.
I'm going to read this last thing. I just wanted to leave you guys with this. If you want to comment on this, you can. But this is basically something that I was watching a interview, and this person and my clinician didn't get back to me. I wanted her to really give me something on trauma bonding, but I might have her come on and join me next week, and we can do some more in-depth talking about that, because trauma bonding is really serious. But anyway, so I was watching this interview, and this therapist was on there, and she said there's 3 important principles to consider when you're in a disagreement with your partner. Because we were talking about, the loss of love, the effects of losing someone, what you've learned. So I thought this was profound. And it's not that I haven't heard some version of it, but the way she put it, I wrote it all out. So, important principles to consider when you're in a disagreement with your partner. 3 things. Number 1, you are not, now we're talking about when you're arguing, okay, with a partner.
Sure.
You are not the problem, and your partner is not the problem. The problem is the problem. And it's up to the 2 of you to work together on the same team in order to resolve that problem. That's first and foremost. Number 2, you cannot win a battle without losing the war. The minute that you were pitted against your partner in a conflict, if you won, guess what? That means they lost. And ultimately, your relationship loses. So you never, ever want to be in that position where one person loses and the other one wins. And the third thing, and then when somebody tells you that you've hurt them, you don't get to decide that you didn't. And so if you don't respond to your partner's hurts and wounds in a relationship, you will lose them and ultimately your relationship every time. I thought that was awesome.
It is powerful.
Yeah.
It really is.
The part that I think we don't think about is somebody loses when you win. So how is that a win?
Yeah, it's not a win.
Absolutely.
I think the thing that we started out talking about when we look at marriages are, Bible talks about cleaving to your mate, and that's really talking about creating this bond and becoming one. We don't think about that becoming one, because you mentioned in terms of, fighting the problem as a team. Again, the marriage is a team event. We are both coming together. We've made the vows to love one another. But I think the last one you talked about, hurt, we don't get to decide.
Yeah.
And and that's the other piece of that. When we hurt our mate, or we step out on our partner, right? And we say we're sorry. That's not enough. Our partner now gets to dictate, because we broke down the whole trust thing, right?
Right.
And it's up for us to rebuild that trust, but not to rebuild it based off of how we see it, but how the offended partner sees it. So if they need, that kind of goes back to that hurt thing. If they need, for us to check in with them daily, as an example, we can't say, well, you know what, I won't check in with you daily, but I'll check in with you, once a day, or I'll do this. No, they're dictating to you what they want, because you are the person that hurt that team.
Yeah.
So it's no longer a team anymore. So we have to work to regain that trust and to regain the hurt. The first thing that we should say when we hurt somebody, when we're dancing with our partner and we step on their toe, what do we say? Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
Did you feel that? What can I do? What can I do for stepping on your toe? It's going to the other person. And a lot of times when we get in conflict, we're turning away from the partner. They'll tell you in therapy, turn towards your partner, talk to your partner, listen as your partner talks to you.
And that's vulnerability. That's vulnerability right there. And that's, if you've got that good relationship, and that's vulnerability, and if you can do that, that's so healthy. And number one, and I would tell you, number one, the problem is the problem. So this is a great little tidbit that I've picked up that is fantastic on how to communicate, right? So whenever something happens, let's say that I'm the one that's supposed to take out the trash, or my partner's the one that's taking out the trash. Instead of, if the trash isn't getting taken out, being like, I get so pissed at you because you don't ever take out the trash, right? So listen to how that sounds, right? Now change it to, when the trash doesn't get taken out, I feel this way. This makes me feel upset.
Yeah.
And it would really, really help me if the trash was taken out. Look how different that is.
Yeah.
And it's just communicating the same thing, right? Look how different. And you've now made the problem the problem. It's not your partner that's the problem. It's the trash not going out. How do we get the trash taken out, right? So that whenever I picked up on that, and that little tiny method of communicating, identify the problem, say how it feels, and say how it will help you whenever you get the problem solved. Wow, like that, now all of a sudden you're a team and you're working together. So I thought that was number one was a really great point as well.
And I will say this as a woman that I've experienced in talking to other women about, when, Robert, you mentioned infidelity. Okay, we try to get over it. We try to forgive it, right? But the reason why women might bring it back up is because the partner does something else to hurt them. And then it takes them all the way back to, square one. They lose ground, and it's, and that's the reason why women bring stuff up. Oh, you keep bringing up my past. Well, you keep doing stuff, Can we progress? Can we get past this? So that's why women do that. So in closing, I know I didn't prepare you guys for this, but I know y'all can roll with it. Give a closing remark, something that you would like to close out with, the closing remark. I'm gonna put on a little music. I hope it's not too loud. So Peyton, you can go first.
I'll hear the music. Okay.
So do hard work and know what you want. Do the hard work and know what you want. If you can subscribe to that, doing the hard things, doing the hard work, and learning what you want, it's going to be very helpful.
Great. Do the hard work. Know what you want. Thank you, Peyton. Robert?
Don't expect perfection from the person that you're dating.
So good. Yes. Wow. Those are some good parting words. You guys have been fantastic. I'm asking you to wait after I close out, because I want to say a couple things to you guys. Greta put on there, do the work and know what you want. Yeah, they're putting the stuff in that you guys said. So you guys share this for me, so people can, I want to say hi to all my replay viewers. That's kind of late at the end. I'm saying hi. I should have said hi in the beginning. Sorry about that. But I asked you guys to share this on your page because it was a really great conversation. I tell women all the time, if you want to know how men think, please ask a man. Don't ask your girlfriend. That's why anytime I do relationship talks, I always have guys on. So I thank you so much for this tonight. Thank you guys for joining us. And we'll be back on next Monday night at 7:30. Bye-bye, you guys.